Please stand as you're able for our opening song. How is everybody? Good. Good. All right. So we're gathered here as the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living to support each other and to be supported. We are loved, and we know that, and we love in return. Because we know that as Spirit is, we are. And Spirit is the constant giving and receiving, constant movement, that giving and receiving and that being and that having. And so we just stand in that place, stand in that spirit, open ourselves up to give, open ourselves up to receive. We are blessed, and we know it, and we are grateful to be here this morning. And so it is. All right, so I light the candle because it stands as a physical reminder that the all in all, the absolute, is right here, right now. All right, what's next? Oh, the storytelling and the announcements. Okay, come on, Gordon.
Let's see. Am I in focus here? Good, okay, great. Announcements and upcoming events featuring me. Good news, okay. This is why you need at least one millennial on staff at your church.
Do you get it, Gordon?
Not yet, but I will soon.
I see the letters that are CAT, the WTF?
Yeah.
You-
Okay. We're moving right along.
That one's on Reverend Carolyn.
Hey, she was the one who taught me all about that, when she made a sign for our class that said that.
Okay, don't just survive, thrive. Workshop with Reverend Carolyn, October 20th, after service, noon to 1, love offering admission.
That-
We admit to giving a love offering. Oh, the cost of admission is a love offering.
Yeah,
Got it.
well,
Okay.
and whatever.
All right.
I just wanted to, people have said, bring back a seminar with you. And so this particular seminar comes from one of the breakout sessions that I went to. And I was trying to figure out a way for the most people to participate without a huge time commitment. So I will be talking about this during the service, and then at 1 o'clock, we will have an hour to talk about it in more depth and bring it down to a personal level. So,
Says noon.
noon to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives us enough time to grab a cookie and sit down. And say hello to everybody and all that, okay?
Excellent.
Thank you. Join us for lunch, Social Sunday today, yay, after the service. Any comments about that? These are the two tables, look like we're getting them set up, 3 tables in the back. Any of those 3? Okay. All right, join us for lunch. Practitioner of the day, Tammy Steppenfield. Tammy.
Yay, Tammy.
Tammy up in front with a power shower for the group prayer. Confidential prayer by request from any practitioner. October, what's that, throw in one other one. Our men's group met several days ago. We decided our next men's group meeting was going to be a Kingfish. So we're going to be doing that, and we'll say more about that, is that it's only once a month, so.
On the Louisville side.
On the Louisville side, right, yeah. But we'll say more about the address and how to get there and so on as it approaches. October's affirmation. My spirit dances like fallen leaves on a windy day, as I discover the beauty of letting go. Nice, very nice.
That's
Very
great.
poetic. Tell your story, okay. Okay, guys and gals, what do you have for us today? Well, I have a short story that is really a plea for help. Every now and then I've made, as I'm saying, it sounds like I'm whining, but it's really a plea for help, because I know I got to do the work. But these 2 dogs, that we've got, these guys, they're not being funny anymore. It's kind of like an accidental poop here and there. You can kind of laugh that off and take care of it. But I swear that these guys are in cahoots with each other. Now, they're small, and they're only 9 months old, but they're bright, and probably brighter than this bulb when it comes down to it. So we don't know exactly what we need to do, because we thought they were housebroken. Now, all of a sudden, they're not.
Have you ever heard of a doggy diaper? And they don't like them, but you put them on them when they come into the house. And normally it keeps them from doing anything in the house. And if they do, it fills up their diaper, not your house. We've used it with Russell, and Tracy's used it, but it helps in the training process to say,
Okay,
when you're
good.
inside, you don't do this, and when you're outside, then you do. And I have found that Russell asks to go out sometimes when I forget, when I don't connect enough to know that that's what he's asking, and then I get right.
I will certainly pass that along. Any other thoughts, though, on that? Do you think they're not really conspiring? That's just my imagination.
I'm not sure.
Probably
no.
are
No,
conspiring.
I
I think they are.
Yeah.
Well, the part that occurs to me about that is, your whole family is their pack. They see humans as dogs with regard to their pack structure. And so they might be going through a phase between puppyhood and adulthood where they're establishing who has the order of being in the pack. And you might ask about that, but in the meantime, I think using the diaper thing is gonna dial down your frustration the most. Plus, like she said, it really does train them. If they don't want anything on their butt, they go outside.
Yeah. I love Margot's approach to this. I didn't know how she was going to get out of some of it, but she says, well, I think the problem is that they think you're the alpha, but you're not acting like the alpha. So I said, yeah, but you're the one who's told me, what to do. There's the alpha and an alpha. I don't know. Yeah. They're great little critters, though. I'm glad I got you guys to laugh with me, because I gotta keep laughing at it. Otherwise, it gets horrific.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody having one more story maybe before we wrap it up?
I went to see Kai, and he did my hair, and so this is his story, but he worked for Brooks Brothers years ago in California, and Brooks Brothers is, a very nice place, and, it's a very nice department store. He worked in the young men's department, and so the people that were his customers were usually tall and lean, or at least lean. And then next to him was the older men and the bigger men and all that kind of stuff. Well, the system was that they wrote out, this one gets the first customer, this one gets the second, third, and they had it all written out on that side. So a man gets off the elevator, he's black, he is short, really short, and he's lean. And so all the people on that side went, he's not gonna buy anything, because he was not dressed like a Brooks Brothers customer, And so they all just sort of scattered. And Kai was standing there, and he walked out and said, how can I help you? And walked him in, and he's showing him all this stuff, and he's showing him he wanted blazers. He told him that his daughter had sent him to Brooks Brothers to get some clothes, because he needed clothes. So they picked out blazers. They had a dark blue one, and then they had the pants that go with it, the khaki and the tan and all that kind of stuff, and the gray. And he was doing pretty good, and then they went to shirts, and he picked out, a white shirt and a blue shirt. He said, can I have a pink shirt? He went, sure. And so he loved that. They picked out ties with everything, and he loved this pink shirt. And so they laid that aside and all, and then they went to look for suits. And he wasn't really excited until he got to a wide pinstripe. And he really liked that one. That one really, he thought that was just great. He ended up buying 2 suits. He bought 2 blazers. He bought several pairs of slacks. He paid lots of shirts. He loved the shirts, the blues and the pinks and the oranges. He loved all that, and he was getting ties to go with everything. And he looks over at Kai, and he says, do you sell underwear? He said, oh yeah, we do. And so he bought all of that too. And so when he's checking out, when he got to it, he pulled a wad of cash, like $6,000 or so, out of his pocket and started paying them. And he said his daughter, Shaka Khan, sent him. And the other guys were so jealous. They were so they weren't gonna, this was a Saturday, it's a very slow day for Brooks Brothers downtown. And they were so, one of the guys said, that was supposed to be my customer.
Right.
But where did you go when he walked off the elevator? That kind of thing. And so he had a huge week with that sale, and it was just great. And it was one of those things about, don't judge a book by its cover. You really don't know what's there, what they have to offer, who they are, and how you want to react to them and serve them. And for Kai, you all know Kai, he's just one of those people who loves to talk, he loves to smile, he's just welcomed that man, and they became friends. And so he was sharing that story with me, because we were talking about something, I don't remember what, but about, you just never know. You just don't know. You have to serve everybody the same, kindness and all of that, and then you'll see what comes from it from you. Okay.
Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, now we have reading time.
Miss Tammy's.
Reading time, that must be me.
That would be you, Mr. Field.
I'm very happy to read I'm getting too good at that, I think. We love it. Anyway, October is always a special, special month because it's Ernest Holmes month. So I was going to read the prayer because it was lovely about my tribe, but Ernest didn't write it. So I read today's reading and I said, oh my goodness, today's the day. I love this reading and I'm going to share it with you all and I hope you enjoy it too. An idea for you. If thinking of troubles will double their size, sure logic would show it to be more than wise. To try the same systems on blessings and such, we might be astonished they'd swell up so much. Shibbly boys. Night and morning, try to set apart a time in which to be quiet, to commune with your real self. This is really the period in which you clarify your mental atmosphere. Be as relaxed physically as you can, but neither the position you occupy nor the room has anything to do with the work you are doing. Mostly see to it that there is no physical discomfort while you are attempting to direct your thinking. Now that some of the bodily tenseness, which is the bane of our rushing way of living, has been released, say with conviction and feeling, I am strong and free through the action of God in me. I am well and successful in everything I do. Repeat this until you feel the thrill of it all through you. It is a wonderful tonic. I am strong and free through the action of God in me. I am well and successful in everything I do. After this, spend 10 minutes thinking over some part of what you have read, assimilating it more, or have a quiet prayer time in which you do not ask for things or conditions, but name them, accept them as already belonging to you, and give thanks for them. This whole procedure has probably taken about 20 minutes. You would not start on a day's trip in your car without an adequate supply of gas and oil. Why start out on your day's work without getting yourself properly supplied physically, emotionally, or spiritually? From the Basic Ideas of Science of Mind, 1957, Ernest Holmes. In this moment, I am strong and free through the action of God in me. I am well and successful in everything I do.
love you. Oh, wow. Okay. How many of you can quote at least a portion of the 23rd Psalm? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Right. Okay, I'm going to read it to you in just a minute. We're going to talk about, oops, what am I doing? There you go. We're going to talk about the Lord is my shepherd. It's very interesting to me how ideas come to me, and they come to me, and they, they come from here and there and yonder and all that stuff. And this is one of those that came. And part of it is we pray, we know, and we focus, and we image, and we vision, and we do all that. And there comes a point when we just need to let go. When we've set forth what we want, we're clear about what we want, and we need to let it be and trust Spirit. And so that, for a lot of us, is not an easy thing, because we're going to make things happen. And we're going to treat and pray, and we're going to make sure that this turns out the way we want it to. And sometimes we do the work, that is the work, and we do the work, and then we let it go. And something that's even better than we could have asked or thought comes into our lives. So that's part of this idea about the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There's a lot in that prayer that we could focus on, different phrases and that sort of thing. But we're going to focus more on the shepherd and what that is about, what that means, and the rod and staff. So we're going to try to get a feel for what this is saying to us, and in a more modern language. This is, there it is. This is a picture of Craig Rogers from Virginia. Craig wrote an article for Modern Farmer. I have no idea how I got to Modern Farmer on my internet. I didn't go looking for it. I just ended up there, and I was reading it along. I thought, oh, okay, we'll do that. He has been a sheep farmer all of his life, and his family has done it even before he did. And he wrote this article about 10 things that sheep have taught him, that lambs have taught him. And I just was so impressed with how he loves his work. He thinks of what he does in ways of knowing that he is doing something for everyone else as well as for himself. The idea of being a farmer of something so wonderful as sheep. Now, sheep don't have a good name. They're called kind of dumb. And you've heard that, the Lord is our shepherd because we need guidance because we're kind of dumb, right? At least that's what I heard one minister say many, many years ago. But they're really not. Now, they have a very strong flock mentality, but they have been in captivity and domestication since 10,000 BC. And they have been thriving, and they still do. But they hang together, always. And so we're going to talk about a few of the things that he talks about. He says he finds great pride in doing this ancient work of caring for sheep, the humble work of caring for the sick, ensuring the health of each individual, providing feed and shelter, and protecting the safety and health of the flock. Shepherds have always been the farmers who get no respect. They have always been considered, shepherds are just like the lowest of the low. They are the, ditch diggers and grave diggers and that kind of thing of the farming industry. They're looked down on for whatever reason, and they have been for thousands of years. But he takes great pride in what he does. And when you look at, he talked about the cattle and sheep battles in 1850 in the West. The cattle ranchers didn't want the sheep because they ate too much of the grass, and they were a problem, and they tried to get rid of them. And then a lot of the farmers that raised cattle figured out, or ranchers that raised cattle figured out that sheep actually was more profitable. And so they very quietly moved over to being sheep herders without telling anybody, without wanting to say, I'm a sheep herder, because they had been part of the whole thing that looked down on people who took care of sheep. But Craig takes great pride in doing what he does. He said, you cannot help but be impressed by how smart sheep are to have survived these since 10,000 BC. Their instinct for flocking and a community-based survival mechanism where they have learned that their strength is much greater in numbers and their comfort in survival is enhanced as a group rather than as an individual. The more we learn, the more we know that as we come together, we strengthen each other. As we share our journeys, then we make our journeys clearer. And we have more help and support along the way. And the sheep have learned that, and they share that with us. That on your own, there's only so much you'll accomplish. With a group, with support, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. He said the work is to tend to the flock, but take care of the individual. To look at whatever is around us, and look at the individuals that we come in contact with and see ourselves as being an opportunity to share encouragement with that person, our support, our kindness, our smile, or whatever that might be, versus looking at the flock, which we might say is just overwhelming and doesn't fit in, and we've got to do something about those people and that sort of thing, stands in the way of our really caring, stands in the way of the health of the flock, our flock and whatever flock is around us, that we can handle if we will handle it together. He talked a lot about birth, and he talked about that on a sheep farm, somebody's having a baby all the time. The sheep don't have, cattle have a very strict time of year that they deliver their calves. But little lambs can be born at any time. And he loves doing that, being a part of it. He said birth is constant, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and sometimes it's painful. So all of the thousands of births that he has seen over the years, some of them have left him crying. Most of them have left him smiling, because according to him, there is nothing cuter than a lamb. I didn't know this. After they're born, they get up and walk around immediately. And then they find their mom, and they settle in and become nourished and all that. But they come out with the ability to stand up and walk around. That's amazing, isn't it? I think it is. So he talks about that moment of seeing newness, of new life happening, and how special that is. And I ask myself, how often are you seeing birth around you and not realizing it? The birth of an idea, the birth of a different kind of action, the birth of a relationship, the birth of things that are happening that feed you and encourage you. All of those things are newness, and yet they're coming to us all the time. And we have the opportunity to take a look. He does say that cute doesn't last forever. In 6 months, they're almost adults. And so They don't stay cute, little cute ones, very long. And then he talked about, let's see, okay, a rod and a staff. Who can tell me the difference between a rod and a staff? The staff curves, yes, and the rod is straight, and the rod is used for protection. King David, as a young boy, in being a sheep herder, a shepherd, he is reported to have killed a lion and a bear in protection of his sheep. So the rod is very important for protection, very important to give us a place to grow and not be afraid all the time, because somebody is protecting us. And the staff is all about taking care of us. It's all about the staff will help him to lift a lamb without hurting it or hurting anyone else. It's a way to move sheep from one place to another as they need to move. And so in that, Spirit does that for us. It not only protects us, but it also gives us this great nourishment and care and love in everything that we do. Now, let's see. This is Craig, and he is standing among his flock. You see, he has a staff, and he will go out there and take care of things and do whatever he needs to do. And he has great help. He doesn't have to do it alone. He has a dog. He has multiple dogs. But Jack has been around the longest. And Jack can take a couple hundred sheep and move them where they need to go, and by himself. He can also pick out sheep that need help and take them to the shepherd and pull them out of the flock so that the shepherd will see them. The shepherd has to have a very sharp eye, because he's looking for anything that will tell him that that particular sheep needs more care. Either it's not growing as fast as it should and it needs more nutrition, or it's sick, or it's injured, or whatever it might be. But he and the dog work together to make sure that they all have what they need to live and to thrive. He also talks about it's a farm. He raises sheep because they are his product, his cash product. So there's a lot of death on a sheep farm. Whether he is killing a lamb or a full-size sheep and then going to put it on a spit and have his friends come over and share a wonderful meal with him, it takes 8 hours. So they come over early and they stand around and watch the spit turn, and they talk to each other. And often they talk about how precious it is to do what they do, how farming is in their blood, and how much they love it. There is just so much warmth in everything that he wrote. It just pulled it from me and made me think of how wonderful it is to know that there is someone that is committed to my health and committed to the flock's health, committed to my needs and concerns, and committed to the flock. And that is Spirit, constantly in our lives. He went on to a big banquet, and one of the lead chefs, most of his product goes to the East Coast chefs. All of his things, whether it's the farm or the slaughterhouse or whatever, it's as humane as can be. But he was invited to this big deal, and he provided the sheep that they would process, and the chef was wonderful, and they're cooking it all. But he said the most wonderful thing that he could ever remember. A man came up to him and he said, "Thank you for nourishing us tonight. Thank you for nourishing us tonight." The guy really got it. It's not about just a cash product. It's about doing something that will nourish people, that will bring new life to people and sustain the life that they have. Happy lambs are healthier lambs. We all know that. Do you know that? If you're happy, you're going to be healthier. Okay? And nothing brings it together, that this neighbors and friends and family gathered together to break bread and to talk to each other and be together. So, I want to read a little bit different interpretation of the Lord's Prayer. It's more along the metaphysics kind of language. Not exactly, and I change a few things in it. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall lack nothing. Spirit makes me lie down in green pastures. Spirit leads me beside still waters. Spirit restores my soul, guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Spirit is with me. Spirit's rod and staff, they comfort me. Spirit prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. It anoints my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. As we think about the Good Shepherd, and as we interpret it in a way that fits our metaphysical beliefs, it brings us the opportunity to really be in that place of knowing that we are constantly cared for, we're constantly protected, we're constantly seen by the Spirit who is looking for what we need and is willing and able to give it. And so it gives us that opportunity to, yes, make clear what it is that we want in our lives, and then to trust Spirit to give us that or something better. And we let it be. It's not about how hard we pray. It's about how much we relax and trust Spirit. And that's what we want to know and express in our lives. Okay, we're going to do a meditation. This is from Craig's Land as well. He says he often goes out in the late evening and sits and watches the sheep go across the pasture, and he loves that. That's the most serene part of his day. It's where he gets a real feeling of being a part of something, of being at rest with life. And so I invite you in this moment to plant your feet on the ground, your hands in your lap, close your eyes if you're comfortable, and breathe. And just breathe gently, letting each breath settle you more and more. We're going to take the next few minutes to create a place of serenity. We may decide that the image of the green pasture and the white lambs and sheep walking across it, sky in the background, trees far off. Maybe there's a mountain in the background. And we are so comfortable sitting in our chair or lying down or whatever it is that makes us feel most comfortable. That's what we do. And so as we breathe, we let each breath settle us more. We let go of any distractions, any shoulds, any oughts, any regrets. We let them go. If there's a nagging voice in our heads that says, you can't let that go, you can't do that, then visualize a large earthen jug with the top on it. And put all those things that you think you can't let go of into the jug, into the pot. Knowing that if you want to come back and pick them up again, you certainly can. But you breathe. And you settle into your spot. And you look at what brings a deep feeling of serenity to your life. You might feel a cool breeze. Just one more addition to the comfort that you are feeling. And we breathe. What does it mean to you to know that the power that is sees you, cares, wants to give, and wants to be a part of your experience? What does that feel like? Take a deep breath. Focus on the feelings and the thoughts that you do not want to lose. Knowing that as you do that, they become a part of you in a way that can be easily recalled, easily refelt. And breathe. Join me in knowing in this moment, right here, right now, that each of us is seen and cared for and protected and encouraged and led to a fuller expression of who we truly are, Spirit. And so we breathe. We let it be. We know that it is good. We know that it is done. And together we say, and so it is.
We gratefully accept your credit or debit cards behind Vernon. Available to back table before service, which is behind Vernon. And so if you will join me in our prosperity affirmation for this month.
God's wealth circulates in my life. It flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously. For I am one with God, and He is everything.
Tony Robbins.
And so, we are grateful for our blessings. We are grateful for the opportunity to circulate the power of Spirit through our money. As we give and as we receive, that is Spirit working, and we are grateful for it. And together, we bless it and we say, and so it is.
I have a story.
Oh, good.
Late with the story?
Sure, why not?
Absolutely.
We're a little early.
Mhm.
We're going to sneak in before prayers.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't think about it. Well, I really wasn't ready to talk about it earlier, but I feel more centered now. Thank you. First off is I am about to finish one of the best books I have ever read. So I want to share that with you. It's called The Rules of Civility, and the author is Amor Towles. It takes place in 1938 and 1939 to set when the time frame is. It's not a murder mystery, but if you like Pat Conroy, I like Pat Conroy because when I read a sentence, I want to go back and read the sentence again. That's the way this person is. You will want to go back and read the sentence, the paragraph, the page. It takes a long time to read the book. But anyway, it's a wonderful book, and I want to share that. Then I want to say that life is kind of messy a lot of times. It's not neat like we might like think it ought to be nice, neat, and tidy. 6 months ago, 4 of my friends and I decided we would go to Apalachicola in St. George Island for a week for a trip. And that was wonderful. So we proceeded through all this time, and then my best friend of 60-some years got very ill. And I knew that this was going to be her last illness. And what was I going to do about my vacation that had been planned for 6 months? 2 girls were flying, but I was driving 2 girls because one of them is so afraid to get on an airplane she drugs herself out. So I volunteered to drive 6 months ago. So I spent the week before I left for Florida working 8 hours a day, and then the rest of the day with my friend Donna. And on Friday, I took a half a day, or Thursday and Friday, took a half a day of vacation and spent even more time with him. And so Saturday morning at 6 o'clock, I'm up and leaving for my trip, picking up my ladies, and we're on our way. And at 10 a.m., I got a phone call that I had lost my first. So I always wonder, how did that work out in my life? That should occur when I had another commitment that was 6 months ago, for goodness sakes. But it did. And I apologize to my 2 rides. I have to come home on Friday. You're going to miss a day of your vacation because I have to be at the funeral on Saturday. And the funeral was just wonderful. It just could not have been better. My girlfriend was a Catholic. And she kind of went away, and then she kind of came back. So it was really crucial to her this be a very Catholic service. And I told her daughter, the only way it could have been more Catholic is if the Pope had been there. It was a beautiful service, and she enjoyed it all, and it was really wonderful. And to show how little our community is, she's buried in a cemetery that started out as a flat grave cemetery where there were no up monuments. But I guess they've changed because there was a monument right next to where she's buried. And daggone, he went to high school with my husband. So when I go and visit Donna, I'll go and visit Donnie Apple too. So there you are. Life never changes. Where Carolyn and I stayed in Asilomar, we looked at the stairs to get up to our room, and we were both devastated. We got to go up and down those stairs all day long. But we did it. We did it. We kind of scooted a couple times, but we made it. But the condo where I stayed was a 3-story condo. And what that means in life is that my knee is just now recovering after a week. You went up 1 flight of steps, and you came to the kitchen and the family room and a wonderful balcony with a beautiful view of the ocean. But in order to go to sleep, to lay down, or to go to the bathroom, you had to go up another flight of stairs. So normally in a day, I might do 2 flights of stairs because at my home, I got to go up to get to my computer. There, I did 12 flights of stairs a day. So it wasn't great. But I want to say that Apalachicola and St. George Island are wonderful, wonderful, and just to put a new thought into your mind about where you might want to go on a trip. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Our prayer box. I take all the energies that have been swirling around for the last hour. I take the energy of Tammy and the love of her friend and the sadness to be without her right there. And I take the energy of people stepping out into new ways that I know of in this group. I take the energy of learning and growing and being and taking steps to be more of who we are called to be. And all that energy, I call it together into a vortex of power. And that power is the Spirit moving in and as us. And if we have a health issue or someone we love has a health issue, then we take that energy and we bless them. We bless them with the understanding that Spirit is right here, right now, and Spirit is perfect health, and we know it, we affirm it, it is, and it is so. Okay. You'd think after all these years I'd know what comes next. Okay, let's go forth. What are we singing?
We go for it.
Well, of course. I know. take your hands and do this. Round and around and around and around. You're drawing in energy, you're creating a vortex, and it's all coming to be spiraling around you, this vortex of energy, this vortex of love. And you know that it is that. It is love, it is spirit, it is health, it is all the things that we need and desire. And we go, yes!
Yes!
Gimme, 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 gimme. Now go forth. Yes, lunch. There's plenty of food. Stay and enjoy.
I love Pat Conroy.